Visual controls such as forms, buttons, text boxes have event, and an event occurs when an object sends a signal that an action has taken place. This is usually caused by user interaction, such as a button being clicked or a text being typed. There are several events available for a form, including for buttons, text boxes, and to other visual controls in our Visual Studio. But for this particular slide, we'll be concentrating on the form events. One of the events available for our form is the move event. This event occurs when the form is moved. Although by default, when a form is instantiated and launched, the user does not move it. Yet this event is triggered before the load event occurs. Another one is the load event. Load event occurs before a form displayed for the first time. Visible change. This event occurs when the visible property value changes. Basically, visible property can be set either to true or false. The next is activated. This event occurs when the form is activated by the user. Another event is the shown event. This event occurs whenever the form is first displayed on the screen. Next is the paint event. It occurs when the form is redrawn. Next is the deactivate event. It occurs when the form loses focus and is not the active form. The next one is the closing event. It occurs when the form is closing. Next is the closed event. It occurs when the form is being closed. Now let's see the cycle of this event by writing some simple application in Windows Form that triggers these events that we have mentioned. Inside of our Visual Studio, let's create a new project and then let's select the Windows Forms app and then let's name this project WinForms. Okay, so let's set the important properties of our form. Let's go to the property window. Let's select the name, then change this to FRM main. The next form border style, let's select fixed single. Then the maximize and minimize buttons, set this to false. Start position, set this to center screen. Then the last property is the text property. Let's set this to main space form. Okay. So next is we have to display the immediate window. So the immediate window will help us to know if a certain event has been triggered. So let's go to the debug menu, select window, and then immediate window. Okay, so there you go. So basically the default location of the immediate window is at the bottom of the Visual Studio. So the first thing that we will do is to add a click event. Let's select our form, and then from the properties, we have here the lightning icon. So click the lightning icon. It will display all the available events starting from the activate event down to the visible change event. And again, this is alphabetically arranged from A to Z. Okay, so let's start in the click event. So click letter C. Here you go. And then let's double click this. Okay, then let's write here debug that right line, and then let's tell the immediate window that this is from the click event. Okay, and then as of this moment, we haven't yet imported the system diagnostic namespace. So we have to go to the topmost of our code window, and then let's add here using system.diagnostics. Okay, because this is the place where the debug class is sitting. So we have to import that. Okay, so we have now the debug.write line, and then to try this, let's click the start button. So now let's try clicking our form. If we can see the click event being triggered. Clicking the form, it will display click event on our immediate window. Clicking it again, it will display again the click event. So as we click, it will tell us that the click event was invoked, as you can see in our immediate window. Okay, so let's try a different event. Okay, so let's clear first the immediate window, right click, and then clear all. So this time, let's try adding a code to our move event of our form. Let's go to the form designer, and then in our event list, let's look for the move event. Okay, let's double click this to open the code window, and then let's write here debug, that right line. Then let's write here move event. We'll also do the same thing for load event. Okay, so let's go back to our form designer and let's look for the load event. Then double click, then we will do the same thing here. Copy and paste, then let's write here load event. Okay, so let's try by clicking the start button. We have two events occurred. So the first one is the move event followed by the load event, as you can see in our immediate window. If I move again my form, it will trigger several times the move event. Okay, if I click our form, it will trigger the click event of the form. If we move it again, it will trigger the move event of the form. Okay, so let's add more events to our form. Let's try the visible change. Go to the form designer and our event list, select visible change. Then let's write here visible change. Let's also add debug right line to our activate event. This is the activate, double click and then paste it here. Then change this to activated. Okay, and then let's also use the shown event. Go to the form designer, look for the shown event, this one, double click, and then paste it here again. Then let's change this to shown event. And then paint, let's look for the paint event, paste the debug right line, change this to paint event, and then deactivate. Let's look for the deactivate, closing, and the last one is closed. Form closing. All right, so let's clear up the immediate window by right clicking and then clear all. Then let's hit the start button. Okay, so the cycle of the event, the occurrence of the event starts with the move event followed by the load. The next one is the visible change event and then activate, then followed by shown event and the paint event. So as we move our form, it will trigger the move event. If we click it, it will trigger the click event. And if we focus on a different form, it will trigger the deactivate event because it loses focus. Then if we go back to our form, it will trigger the activate event because it receives focus. So that's all for the form events. Okay, so let's summarize everything. The cycle of the form events starts with the move event followed by load. The next is visible change, activate, shown, paint, deactivate, form closing, and the last one is form closed. That wraps up our lesson for form events. See you in the next videos.